Right. Good day. Happy Friday. Happy. Hey, Liz. Hi. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. TikTok's in the building first. TikTok is in the building first. So, um, I am going to, even though Liz and I have met, I'm still going to be hospitable for everyone coming in. Hello, hello, hello. Good day. Hi, I am Dania. I'm an Ifa priestess and spiritual awakening doula for the African American diaspora. And today I want to talk about Ebo or offerings or giving of something in order to, hi, in order to evoke something happening in nature. So uh, this has been on my mind for a couple of days, and I thought I was going to record it. And then I also have to do laundry. And you know what? I'm just going to like save myself some hard drive space. I forgot that was totally visible. Some hard drive space and do this as a live. And then I'll just, download it wherever I don't have it going. So, first off, I just want to, for those that, that's what I was like, I can take care of two things at once. So, what I want to do is first off is what an offering is. So, what is an offering? What does that mean? What is Ebo? What does all that mean? And so, most people know that there's always an exchange of energy. You give to get. You give to get. This is common. Everybody knows law of reciprocity. You give something to get something in return. There's an exchange of energy that takes place in most transactions. This is no different than when you're in your spiritual practice. And to take this a step further, because I heard a conversation once about giving offerings is reflective of giving your power away. So, for those that don't know, you've never been on a live with me before, just because I heard someone say something doesn't mean I'm going to run with it. So I sat at my altar and I reflected, and then I asked the Most High, like, is this us giving our power away? It is 2:22 on the clock, my time. And the answer I got was a very, very strong no. This is by design. This is us. This is by design. The exchange is by design. Now, that being said, it's also evident that sometimes we overcomplicate what the offering needs to be. We overcomplicate because we are qualifying the offering. It's indeed spiritual place. We are still qualifying the offering from a human lens. FYI, it's trying to storm here, so if my signal or anything goes out, just give it a second. But we're qualifying from a human lens. Is this big enough? Is this enough? And when you think about this from a spiritual perspective, and you're giving an offering to an energy that is clearly not tangible, that clearly is boundless, what is size? Size is a human, a physical construct. It does not apply in a spiritual sense. So, what is size? So, when you're wondering if what you gave is big enough, is it equivalent? Is this an equivalent exchange? You are trying to make it equal from the lens of a human instead of sitting and allowing yourself to divine it through the eyes of the divine. I am very fortunate, and I think this is why my spiritual practice looks a lot of the way it does. So I'm going to use holidays like Father's Day, Mother's Day, things like that. And it would always seem odd to me when I listened to or saw people post and talk about the amount of money they spent on gifts to their parents. I understand as a child, now that you're grown and you're working and you have money, this desire to give to those that um, gave to us. But what I'm very fortunate enough is my parents. They do not um uh if in a minute. But happy birthday. Um um they do not ask me like ever, ever, ever ask me for large gifts. If I go ask my parents right now, today, hey, Mama, what you want for Mother's Day? Daddy, what you want for Father's Day? Nothing. That's the most common answer. Nothing. Don't buy me anything. My mother is one that will always encourage me to go to my sisters and us to do the gift together. Like y'all all go in and buy me a hat. Now just think about how much a hat costs. Like a fitted hat for the Atlanta Braves. Just imagine like on the high end what that costs. I could probably do that on my own, but my mother asked us, because there's three of us, to do it together. Why? Why is that? Because at least two of us have children. I am a single mother. We're all trying to live and make a living. And the thing that my parents have always said, we just want you happy. You don't have to give us anything. We didn't take care of you, raise you, love you so that you could give us stuff when you became older. If you want to get us a gift, fine. But if it looks like you went broke, I'm going to get fussed at. Real talk, I have gotten fussed at because my mom perceived the gift being expensive. And I was like, okay, hi, thanks for joining. My mom perceived the gift as being expensive. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm mindful. I ask her what she wants. I ask her what would be a great gift to give to her, because she never ever, and my father never ever asked that of me. So now we translate that to me giving offerings to Spirit, because there's a reason why I chose my parents. My parents are very Ashe. Hi, Belinda. So they don't ask any, like they just, and my parents are really particular about that. They're like, put the money in savings. You want to do something for me? Put it in a savings account. You want to do something? Even when I was at my young, hard-headed age and staying with them and I was paying rent, you know what my parents did? My parents saved that money. My parents asked me to pay them rent and they saved that money. And then they gave it back to me when I left. They handed me all the cash, all the money that I had given them, and they gave it back to me. This is what an offering, this is what an offering is like. This is what giving offerings to your spiritual team should feel like. And my parents didn't ask me for much. You know what they asked me for rent? Like 20 something dollars. They asked me for like 20 something dollars a week. And they just were just hoarding it, just putting it away. They didn't use it because they didn't need it. This was for me. They were asking me to give them this for me. And when you're giving to your spiritual team, understand your spiritual team is both within you and around you. They are a part of you. They are a reflection of you, and you are a reflection of them. They simply want you to see the aspects of them in your being. The offering is simply a physical. It's just something physical for you to see the energy exchange taking place. That's what it is. And over the last few days, I have been channeling what some would say, well, that's small. My spiritual team doesn't see it that way because they don't see size. They see that I put in an effort, that I decided to give something of myself to make this happen. I got asked to wear white for a while. That's what was one of my offerings. I have white clothes. If I need some more white clothes, I know where to go. I can hit up a Rainbow. It's not going to be super expensive. It's not going to break me. It's not going to put me in debt. So when you're thinking about giving your offerings, you're thinking about it like when you're being asked to give an offering, when you're sitting there trying to say, what should I give? You should not do it from a human lens. Do it from the lens of Spirit. And what Spirit wants is the love. Spirit wants the effort, the reflection to say that I appreciate that what you're doing for me. You know, my ancestors, they asked for a sandwich. That's what they asked for. They asked for a sandwich, not a whole plate, not a buffet. They asked me for a sandwich. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? A sandwich? Like, not even, and like they didn't ask me for a Firehouse sub. They asked me for a tuna sandwich. That's what they asked for. What's tuna? Like a pack of tuna, what, like, less than $2? But they know I'm going to make it with love. It's about the ashe. They know I'm going to make it with love. They know I'm going to pray over it. They know there's going to be a whole lot of energy in that sandwich. So when I put it on my altar, it's going to be filled with all that ashe. And that ashe is going to come back to me in some capacity. You do not have to be bawling out of control to give an effective offering. The money spent is not the issue. Is it effective? Does it accomplish the desired result? That is the purpose. Is it the right medicine for that task? At this point, I've been doing offerings for, prescribing offerings for a minute. I just started offering E5 divination, which means I've just started prescribing offerings. And I haven't prescribed an offering for anyone over $30. None. Not a single soul. None. Over $30. Why? Because Spirit didn't ask for that. And I always divine to confirm, even though I am a highly proficient medium, I always sit and ask, yo, did I hear that correctly? Oh, that's all you want? Okay, good, bet. Got you. I got you. We can do this. None. I'm not asking them for something that's going to send them to the poorhouse. I got an inbox on TikTok because, I'm on multiple platforms. I got an inbox on TikTok. And this person reached out and they simply wanted to know what to do. They wanted to know what to do. And they were honest. And I appreciated that probably more than anything else. And said, I don't have any money to give you. But I've seen something and I just felt like you could help me. And that's what I needed. So I sat there for a little bit, let my intuition, let my spirit let me know if I felt like, this person is being honest. And I did. And so I sat up, and at that time I was getting ready to go to bed. I sat up, opened the message, and I responded. And what I said to them is that my Ialode, my spiritual godmother, always reminded us that we, us, the human, are the complicated ritual. We, us, the human, are the complicated ritual. We are the altar to the divine. If you go to my website, you will see it on there. Self-love is an act of worship, and you are the altar to the divine. We are the walking embodiment of Mother Nature. This is why the initiation is not what gives you Orisha. You already have Orisha. The initiation unlocks the gate to tap into that ashe more completely. But do not get it twisted. Earth, air, fire, water, spirit are always within you. You are walking nature. You are a reflection of the Most High. If you ever get in a place where you cannot buy a candle, you can get a crystal, you can always get your hands on some water. Even if you have to go to a restaurant, go in a bathroom and fill up a paper cup, you can always give water. You can always give words, and you don't have to have any special prayers or know exactly what to say in order to invoke the energy. The first thing in every Abrahamic tradition, even if you don't stick with that anymore, is reminded that the word was the first thing we got from God. That's it. Your intention and your word will always hold power. And when you have and can give in some other capacity, you think, I got a corporate job and I barely had a place to stay. I didn't have any special words. I just said, I need help. Make this happen for me. There were days at that corporate job where I was sleeping in my car. But within less than 1 year, I bet you I got promoted. And within less than 2 years, I got promoted again. Intention, good character, Iwa Pele. Are you walking in your light? Are you standing up for your truth? Even if I couldn't stand up for the truth of myself, I always stood up for the truth of somebody else. What y'all not gonna do has always been the energy. This process don't make sense. It's not setting anybody up for success. But I bet you I rewrite it and make it make sense. And now everybody's being successful because they're following my process. And they would just say, thank you. They would say, thank you. I did all of that while trying to figure out how I'm going to eat. What clothes am I going to wear? Where I'm going to sleep at? Am I going to sleep someplace safe? You don't have to be rich. Your altar ain't got to have all these bells and whistles on it. My ancestor altar started as a broken end table and a broken desk, and it wasn't up permanently. I had a little wooden box, which I still have, and I would keep incense, sage, tea light candles, and a little folded white piece of fabric that cost like $1 some change at Walmart. When it was time for me to go, I would lay it all out, set everything up, and when I was done, I put it all away until I got a space where I felt like this was my space to be, where my altar would be permanently. And even when I don't have that, don't think that just because I left the house and I'm rushing in the morning, I can't call my ancestors and do my prayers driving down the road in the car as if my word don't hold any power. Your offerings, your practice is not going to make you broke. And that is something I had to come to. And as a working priestess who has students, who prescribes offerings, I'm not trying to put you in the poorhouse. Yeah, there's going to be an exchange of energy for my time. But even my class has 3 tiers from which you can engage to make sure where you can still receive what you need, the medicine and the nourishment. This morning, I'm sitting there, and when it happens, my human self is always caught off guard. When I sit with spirit and they say, we're going to give you this, that, and the other thing, and these potentially are the offerings you need. And then I go to spirit, I was like, do you require offering this time? And they say, no. I can't tell you in words what it feels like to simply know the divine has your back. You have given what you needed to give. If you something that I need to give, it's almost always still in my house. There's literally for today only one thing I need to buy. That's it. One thing. One. And it ain't gonna cost a whole lot. Everything else that I need to prepare the offerings for myself and my clients is in my domicile right now. God don't need anything from us. The divine don't need anything from us. An offering is just a symbol that you are appreciative of the energy exchange. They don't need anything from us. When people say, I'm doing this for God, God don't need you to do that. That's not what God is asking for you. If you're doing something that's going to benefit someone else, you're doing it from them. You're doing it from them. God could always just do it. But God is like, it'd be really cool if you did it. Because if you're trying to figure out how to manage your time wisely when you run a business, then you need to look at how effectively and efficiently the Most High runs the entire whole of creation by delegating and taking days of rest. If you need a business coach, you need to watch how the creator of all existence created support for herself, created opportunity to delegate, and then created space for rest. The Most High doesn't need you to drop $100 on an offering. Even the other day, it wasn't an ask. I was making food. I was cooking. So I did what people who practice ancestor veneration do. I said, hey, I'm going to give some to my ancestors. And when I got ready to put this whole piece of meat on the plate, they're, what? We don't need all that. We're not going to eat it. Like, we're not going to actually eat that, right? We're not going to actually eat it. It's sweet that you wanted to give us the whole thing, but we don't need that. Go ahead and eat your food. Give me a piece of it. Give me a piece. That's it. That's all I need is a piece. It's the intention behind it. Give me a piece. Okay. Here goes a piece. Here goes a piece. Never, 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 never in my time now have I ever felt like they say, hey, I need you to drop $100 on this. No, 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 no. And even more so, no. People act like they don't realize God knows money still exists. It's not, we don't live, for my Star Trek fans, we don't live in the Delta Quadrant where we don't necessarily have to have money like that. The Most High is not a Ferengi looking for all the gold pressed platinum. It's not like that. So God is completely aware you have money. God is completely aware that certain individuals have chosen a timeline that is causing things to skyrocket in price. You think God can't see that? You think God is unaware you got bills? God knows you got bills. God is not going to say, hey, I know you got to pay that bill, but guess what? I'm going to need you to not pay that bill so you can go and buy this to give it to me. No, 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 no. The Most High. Look, but sometimes I got the spiritual nerd has to come out. The Most High is not going to put you in a position to sacrifice your well-being to create wellness. It's just not true. You're not going to have to sacrifice your well-being to create wellness. Whatever you give will also create wellness for you. They're not going to ask you to put yourself in the poorhouse to make yourself rich. No, 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 no. You do not have to be poor to be rich. You don't have to do that way. And you know how you don't have to make yourself poor to become rich? It's because rich people weren't poor most of the time. There are some that were, but a lot of the people that you look at, like have billions and trillions of dollars, that money has just been sitting in their family. Why? Because intention, thought have power. They never once believed they should have less. They never once believed they should have less. The only thing they ever believed is that they should have more. And thus, because the universe is neutral, it is a neutral playing field. It's a neutral playing field. Who is playing the game most effectively for their life? And they have been watching indigenous, African, and other peoples talk about manifestation, even though that's not the word they use. This is not new age. This is not new. Indigenous cultures, African cultures have known to work with the universe, to work with the power of their word, to work with their intentions since the beginning. Because since the beginning, they understood their relationship to the Most High. But once they saw that we were doing this, they were like, well, we can do this too, but we can't let them continue to do it. Oh, no. Oh, no. We can't let them continue to use this power, because if they continue to use this power, we won't be able to lord it over them. So we have to slowly but surely, in a most insidious way, teach them that all of their practices are evil and separate them from it. And now that so many people are coming back to, I'm sorry, y'all getting a whole show if my shirt came down. My bad. Now that people are coming back to their indigenous practices, they are still doing it from a human wounded lens. Well, I really need this really big task accomplished. Why do you think the task is big? The task is big for you, but is it truly big for the divine? Do you really think it takes a lot for the divine to move something so that you can get this thing accomplished? You think in a human capacity that this is some grandiose thing. And by the lens of other humans, it might be. But if you ask the divine, if you're asking the Most High in your spiritual team, who is working in multiple dimensions, multiple timelines, multiple planes of your existence, multiple galaxies, is that thing really that big? Is the thing that you're asking for truly that big? And if it is not, when you look through the lens of the divine, and realize through a divine lens, you asked for a crumb. You asked for a crumb. Like you want me to, you act like you asked me for a planet. You want a new car? Psh, okay. For you, that's a big deal. But when you look at it through the lens of the divine, you ain't asked for no planet. You ain't sitting there like, yo, I would really like Venus. I'd like to own Venus. I'd like Venus to be mine. That might require a little more than just some cookies as your offering. That might require a little more than some water as an offering if that's something you're trying to invoke. But you want a car? Okay. All right. Well, that's simple enough. You want a new job? Okay. Well, that's simple enough. That's cool. You can't keep looking at what you asked for through the human lens, because it will limit you in your reflection of God and how God can move for you. You have to look that you don't quantify it. That's it. That's the key. And I know that's hard. I promise you, I know that's hard. I am not saying this because I don't know. I know it's hard. It is hard when you're trying to change your life, and this thing could have a magnificent impact on your life. It would have the most magnificent impact on your life if it was to manifest. Do not quantify it in terms of size. Because what also does is, if you think it is big, then what does that say about how you see yourself? If this thing is big, what are you comparing it to? If this thing is a lot, what are you comparing it to? Because what is comparison? The thief of all joy. Stop. Because you can only give it size if you're comparing it to something else. If you're comparing it to something else, you should probably stop. Cease and desist in this course of action. Allow yourself to simply say, I desire this thing. And we say desire because desire invokes action or appropriate inaction. Because sometimes we may want the thing and the universe is like, cool, I got you. I can do that. Now stay out my way. You sure you don't stay out my way? You sure we want you, what you like, take your hands off the wheel. Take your hands off the wheel. I'm driving now. Stay out my way. And then sometimes you get that, that intuitive nudge. Hey, you should go do this thing. Like this live right now. You should go ahead and do this thing. Why? Just do what I said. Do this thing. All right, bet. And you do the thing. And sometimes that is your offering. Sometimes your offering is not food or anything. It's an action. For those who were not here at the beginning, one of mine is wearing white. That's one of my offerings. I'm wearing white. And they're probably like, well, why that? Because I sometimes rebel against wearing white. Sometimes I like that. It's a rebellion. I'm not wearing it because I don't want to look like them. I don't want to look like them. And for me, this is not about me looking or not looking like anyone. Because at the end of the day, I don't have to look a certain way for you to know. And when I say I'm a priest of Shango and I'm a priestess of Yemoja, and that's just where I am currently, I don't have to be wearing anything special. You can catch me in the street with a tank top, basketball shorts, and some J's on, and you still gonna know. You still gonna know. I don't have to have not one Aleke on, and you still gonna know. So the white thing is just simply this is me honoring that I need to wear some white, especially considering black is my favorite color. And you know how like that giving up all my black clothes cost me. I mean, it cost me what the clothes cost me, but in the grander scheme of things, it didn't cost me anything. It did not cost me anything other than the stress of, oh my God, I gotta buy new clothes. That's what it cost me. Oh, how am I? Man, I like had so many black pencil skirts, and I'm just like, that's a lot of black. I'm like looking at the pile of black clothes that I had in my possession, and I was just like, that is a lot of black that I am no longer wearing. So much black. I can't wear black anymore. Not like that. I can wear something with black in it, but I can't I can't throw in a black tee. I can't run up on y'all in a black t-shirt or black basketball shorts. That's just not a thing y'all gonna see from me anymore. Um, Red is another one. Unless y'all want to go to war, I can't wear red like that. I can't wear red like that. That doesn't cost me anything. It gives me a little bit of boundaries in what I can wear. What's an energetic match? It is not the color itself. It's just there's a certain energy that I will manifest if I wear a lot of the color, and I just can't do that. So I don't. But I don't always I ask sometimes I got to go live. That's my offering. Going live costs me what time? It costs me time. It doesn't cost me any money. I go live. My internet's unlimited. I can go live. I can record a post. Sometimes it's like, hey, write me something. Okay. Well, that don't cost anything. That just costs me the time to write it. Some of my best poems have been offerings. I wrote it because it was an offering. Sometimes it's you had this idea in your head for days. You want to show us that you deserve us to open the way for your blessings, then act on the divine inspiration we sent to you to invoke the blessing. Sometimes that's the offering. Sometimes that's the offering. I'm like, oh my God, I need some money. And then you got this $1 million idea in your head and you won't act on it because you're still comparing it and quantifying it. This is too big or I can't get it done. And Spirit is like, I just want you to start. We're going to show you how to execute along the way. I just want you to start. I just want you to start. Just keep going. Don't stop. Start. Sometimes that is the offering. Sometimes that's the offering. Sometimes it's simply you just sitting and having a conversation. And I know for some, especially if you're new in your spiritual walk, you want me to talk to myself? You're not talking to yourself. You're not. You say something and you just sit for a little while. You say something and sit for a little while, let the thought come through, acknowledge the thought, and have, a little conversation. Have a little dialogue. Sometimes that is all they want. Ashe. Ashe. Like it's sometimes it's all they want is your time, the connection. Sometimes all they want is for you to go to the spiritual gym. They're like, dang, you got a whole lot of spiritual gifts, but you ain't using them because your spiritual muscles got, lethargy. You need to go to the spiritual gym and work out. So sometimes that's all they want is the offering. It's for you to go to the spiritual gym and work out. It's not always about how much money you spent to get the offering. It is about your heart, your intention, your desire when you did it. My spiritual practice does not feel like me always checking off boxes. It feels like I get to spend time with the Most High and all of the energies the Most High is embodying to support me, remembering that I'm the Most High. It is me sitting with me. It is me sitting with me, listening, feeling, experiencing. And the more you do that, the more you will realize all that the Creator wants is for you to be happy. Because the Creator didn't come to embody your body and be sad all the time. The Creator wants to be happy in you, as you, around you, bringing you happiness, helping you see miracles and making you smile. That is all that God wants to do. That's it. Like, I don't want to see you sad. Yeah, there's probably some sad things that's going to happen because they're in your story and it's written that way. But if I can help you avoid the sad parts or at least make it where they're not so sad, that's the other thing. My spiritual practice, it's not that it prevents me from being sad. It gives me the tools and resources on how to handle it when I am sad. So I don't have to fall into this hole of sadness. I can work my way through whatever is going on in a way that I couldn't before. Something happened the other day, I think actually a week ago. A week ago today, I got a message. And the timing of it could not have been better. I get this message immediately after doing a ritual. And I'm like, oh my God, did I do something? Like it was immediately ego activated. Oh my God, did I do something wrong? And after I had to come back to center. And that's the help that my spiritual practice gives me. I can sense when I'm getting ready to spiral into an ego driven anxiety attack. And I stop, I take a breath. And I'm like, okay, there's a reason for this. What am I supposed to be doing in this situation? And then I'll just go. And I'll be pull a card at that particular moment. I pull the shells and I'm like, hey, tell mama something. What's good? What's going on? What should I be doing here? And then I get my answer. And then I feel better. I may not like it all the time because in this particular situation, the outcome I don't necessarily like, but it's much better. It's much better than what it could be. So I'm grateful for the outcome. It may not be the most ideal, but I'm grateful for it nonetheless. Grateful for it nonetheless. I can get, and what's beautiful for me is in my spiritual practice, if I do have to go to the store and pick something up or grab something, I will get an immediate confirmation the moment I have the item in my possession. Not when I put it on my altar, not when I pray over it. I go and I get said thing, and then something shows up. And I'm like, well, all right. At least I know you accept the offering. You're good with this. You're okay with this thing before I even get it to the altar. Me getting it to the altar, saying the prayers over it, whatever the case may be, that's simply a formality. They've already seen that I had the intention, the wherewithal to go get the item. So they're like, boom, hey, it's time to go. It's time to go to work. Let's go. Let's get it. It's already happening. And they're already giving me the signs and synchronicities and the messages and the directness to say, hey, thank you. And we got you. We got it. We got it from here, little homie. And sometimes that's also real evident that we got it from here because I want to do something. Okay, well, now that I know, let's say it's for business. I'm like, okay, cool. I've done this offering and this prayer for my business, blah, blah, blah. Let me go ahead and make some posts. I can't make a single post. Something interrupts me, inevitably. Something will interrupt me. My kids will need something. Either way, the internet will be flaky. I will be interrupted. And the divine is like, you've given your offering. Let us do some work behind the scenes before you go. Just let us work. Can you let us work for a minute? Can you let us get in here and work for a minute? Well, no, you don't have to stay up. No. And your spiritual practice should not be like, oh my God, I forgot to do such and such a thing. So now that's going to happen. That is your wounds coming from at least one of three, one Abrahamic tradition or another. Oh my God, I forgot to do this thing. Oh my God, life happened and I forgot to do this thing. So now You need to disconnect from the idea that the Most High is sitting around waiting for an opportunity to punish you. God can see when you got a lot of stuff going on. And so you don't even realize it, that God was the reason why you overslept. God's like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to stay right here, stay put. I understand more so now than I did before that the fact that I had high blood pressure during my pregnancy, which forced me to end up in the hospital and stay there overnight, was divine intervention. You need rest, alone, unbothered, unencumbered with any other task other than for you to rest so that your baby can rest. That's it. God was not, if you ask me, I never had preeclampsia or anything like that. My blood pressure was just running amok. Running amok, just running amok. And because it was running amok, I was like, if you don't sit still, you're not gonna sit still, are you? You're not gonna have to force the issue. Boom, force the issue. And I was like, okay, well, I ain't got no choice now. I'm gonna sit still. And what my spiritual practice looks like now is I sometimes get aware of the things and I'm just like, hey, you don't have to do anything cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to make me pay attention. I hear you. I see you. I'm going to act on it. And when you do your offerings intentionally, think about what you're trying to accomplish. So I'll give you a good example. Let's say you're trying to do money. You want off you want money. Um, maybe you would give something that looks like money. So maybe you would like make a salad because it's got a lot of green in it. You know, you could make the medicine match the intention that you're trying to invoke. And sometimes just sit and ask. Something that I did early in my practice, especially when I started giving offerings, is there we go, there we go. I made myself offering oracle cards. And that's what I did. I made offering oracle cards because I was still working on my mediumship, and early on, I didn't necessarily trust it like that. But I did trust my ability to divine. And so I made offering oracle cards. I made a list of all these various things that were common to give as offerings for the specific energies that I knew were supporting me on my journey. I gave things that, just common things that I already was aware of, and I put them on flashcards. And then when the time came, and it's like, okay, I need to get an offering. So then I would just do like I would do. I was doing a reading. Okay, address the energy, ancestor, whomever you're working with, shuffle. Whatever flew out, that was the offering. Whatever flew out, that was the offering. And because I know what my intuitive yes feels like in my body, I would get that additional confirmation from my higher self, like, yep, that's it. That's it. And sometimes it will be just like when I'm doing a tarot reading. If I have an ugly shuffle, this thing falls out and I don't get a reaction, I put it back. And it's like, if that's supposed to be it, it'll come out again. So that's what I would do to support me in making sure that I had, I knew what to give. Because sometimes it's like, it's so many choices. I'm better in I'm much stronger medium now. So now I can sometimes hear. So like I mentioned early on when I said like the sandwich, I was just sitting there. I'm trying to run through things, and then I finally just shut up. Because sometimes that's what will happen. I'm like, okay, do you want this? Shut up and listen. So that's what I did, is I stopped. And then it was like, a tuna sandwich? A tuna sandwich? So I'm like, okay, hey, you want a tuna sandwich as your offering? Yes. Oh, say less. I got you. I'll make a banging tuna sandwich. I got this. I have one particular thing that I make that comes up often, which tells me they really enjoy it when I make it. I really enjoy it. I like it. Like it's a process for me to prepare this particular dish. And I even recorded myself doing on a video. I said I was going to post it, and I haven't done it yet. But I make this dish, and even if like it's for a specific one, exactly. I'm get in tune. Wait. That right there. Okay, then. Okay. I didn't even catch that. Wow. I didn't even catch that. Wow. You know what? I'm here for it. I receive it. Thank you. Thank you for being a vessel. I receive that. That's a word, and I receive that. I absolutely get in tune. Get in tune. You have no idea how much that aligns to certain messages. Yep. And it's not that I'm not in tune. It is a confirmation. Like that's what my dial is being tuned. My dial is being effectively tuned. Exactly. My dial is being tuned. And right now, Spirit is like, you're doing all the things. You're doing all the things. And one of the things that I hope and an intention I have for any student, any godchild, is that they have that moment when they are implementing the feedback, they're doing the work, they have their own spiritual practice. Is they get that feeling is like, yo, I feel like my entire spiritual team is cheering for me right now. Like that feeling, right? It's overwhelming. It is absolutely overwhelming to feel like God looked at you and said, yo, I, it's it is exactly exactly. It's like you get it. It's like you got it. Don't doubt yourself. You got it. And I'm always fortunate, and I'm always never discount the choices my Audi made for how my journey needed to look and the people that are in this journey around me. It's not that they're in the journey with me, but the supportive energies in my life. My mother, even my father, who doesn't get it and we don't talk about it, but you know what he has never done that I've heard other people who've gone through the awakening do? Called me evil. He's never done that. He comes into my house, and when you first walk in my door, because feng shui, I've got a money altar at the door. Never. Thanksgiving a couple of years ago, family was in town, and my mom, being who she is, hey, you should do their birth chart. Okay. And I'm looking around like a little shook. I'm looking a little shook. But then one night, my mom texted me and said, do you know what your father's listening to? And I'm like, no. And she's like, he's listening to a life path number video. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So even though we don't talk about it, some little seed, some little something in the energy went to him. And I say thanks. And I say thanks, 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 thanks. And I wasn't raised in a Christian household. Like, I was raised as an Israelite in the South. I was raised as an Israelite. I was raised as anything other than Christian in Georgia. I was already on the fringe. It made it easy to make certain transitions because I was already on the fringe, much like you. Like, I'm already on the outside. I'm already not part of the main. So I might as well, just continue to hang out here. I just might as well continue to hang out here because I'm already out here. I'm already outside. I might as well just, go frolic in the grass or something. And that's how I feel like I listen to some people and their transition feels very hurt. There's a lot of hurt from Abrahamic traditions. And notice I haven't said there's hurt from religion, because if you look up what religion simply means that you have a faith in a higher power, and there's some certain things that you do in acknowledgement of that particular energy. Well, if you think about what being spiritual means, and you have a belief in the spiritual world and these powers and energies supporting you and working with them in a certain way, a religion and spirituality go together. It may not go with certain religions, but that does not make you not religious. I know my religion is self-love. I can show you how self-love is embodied in every single solitary aspect of your being. My religion is self-love, because for me, and that knowing that the Most High's energy is running all up and through my being, the more that I love on myself, I'm inevitably loving on the Creator. Indeed. It's like when you separate specifics of the specific religions from the definition of religion, anyone that regularly every full and new moon do a ritual, that's part of your religion. If you do ancestor veneration, that is part of your religion. And a lot of times people say, well, they're mystics are not religious. And I challenge that. You're just not in an organized religion. But if you ask me, I am a spiritual religious mystic, because I am constantly communing with God. God is the Most High, the Creator, the Source, Olodumare, God in all of her many facets, in the multitude of ways, because God is the multitude. So I could see the Creator's reflection in everything. When I did my full moon ritual, and I'm planting seeds, literal seeds, as part of my full moon ritual in the soil and the plant that I'm going to nourish, to nurture the intentions that I set in the ground of this new plant, that's creation. I'm working with the Creator. I am co-creating with the Creator in creation of my existence in that moment. So that's a mystics. It's a mystic and spiritual talk. But because I'm doing it in conjunction with the moon, because I understand the moon cycles and that there's a higher power at work, the reason why the moon acts the way it does, and thus is reflective in our being, that's also part of my religion. It's also part of my religion. I can see it. I can see it. And honoring that. It's not a bunch of check boxes. Some days I'm not in the space to do a list of formal prayers. I enjoy doing them, but some days that's not where I'm at. Some days, you know what? I'm gonna play y'all some music. That's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna play y'all some music and I'm gonna sing what you want to hear. And some days my ancestors are like, I want to hear Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I'm like, say less, let's go. Let's go. Body, someday you remember. It's September. That's a word. There's a sermon in there. There's a sermon in that song. There's a sermon in there. Some days, my ancestors want to hear Michael Jackson, and I play Off the Wall because I'm a 1979 baby. So I play Off the Wall. Boo, 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 boo. Some days, my child wants Erykah Badu Yayo because I would sing it while I was pregnant. And so I sing that for my firstborn. And that is my offering. Sometimes the Orisha, they want Ella Endall real bad. Like, you don't have to just sing, play that for us. Play that for us. And thus I will sing and I will dance and I will know spirit is moving because I will inevitably end up sobbing and in tears, just like I'm doing a reading. Indeed. And I thought religion meant organizations too, but when I looked it up in the dictionary, I was like, you don't have to be in a group. You can be, and it's a part of it, but you could also be an individual. And I was just like, yes. And what's beautiful is you can both be both. So, like, you can have your own individual concept of what your full moon rituals would be, and also still have a collective, a group, an elay, a coven, whatever that resonates with you that you come together with, and also do full moon rituals together. And then that's what y'all are sharing in your religious practice. First, you need to see if initiation is in your destiny, and you have to decide which Orisha tradition is most for you. But you can I actually have divination sessions available. You can inbox me and I can tell you what sometimes I have available to like do the divination for you. Divination's only $125. Expect at least an hour and a half, I'll be honest. At least an hour and a half, and you probably get at least 2 questions in, if not 3. But we can definitely make one of the questions in, like, your alignment is initiating into an Orisha tradition, your destiny. And then initiate. So I'm going to explain initiate in easy terms. So initiation is a ceremony that makes you it's it's a ceremony that aligns you to a specific tradition. And in that particular ceremony, certain energies. Initiation, it kind of depends. So start with divination first. Don't rush to initiation, start with divination first. And then there's some things that you will want to do before you initiate into anybody's tradition. Like, there's work you want to do ahead of time before going into someone's tradition, because I know of people who have initiated and then they're trying to do the work after they've gone to the mat, and you don't want to go to initiation and not have done certain things. My spiritual practice looks and feels the way it does because I did certain things before I initiated. I went on that self-love journey and I did shadow work, and I was able to identify what my personal core values were, and I understood what my personal mission was. Because if you don't know who you are, what you're here to do, and how you want to see that manifest, you can't choose the appropriate tradition to align to. See, I'm initiated and crowned in Ifa, but I am not Lukumi Santeria. And that's because a Lukuma Santeria does not align with my mission. It doesn't align to who I am as an individual. I am a little, that's my mom. I'll call her back. Indeed. Um, you want to make sure, like for me, when okay, so we're going to talk about this real quick. For me, I had a call from Orisha, but if you ask me 3 years ago, did I think I was going to initiate? The answer would have been no. The reason why I didn't feel like I was going to initiate is one, it felt like, well, why would I join another religion when I'm feeling dissatisfied with religion? But what I learned is religion is a misnomer. African traditions are spiritual sciences. So that was the one thing I had to get over. Two, I had to learn that there are various flavors of Orisha tradition. And I had to find which flavor tasted best for me and my energy, if you will. So certain flavors, there are certain things I would not be able to do. I would not be a priestess and be able to do divination and hold ceremonies and things of this nature in other traditions. And even though at that time I did not want to be a priest, at least I didn't think I wanted to anyway. Everything in my birth chart and my numerology chart says contrary. But consciously, I didn't necessarily think I wanted to be a priest. But the idea that because I was a womb holder, the answer would be no. The answer would be no. Then thank you, God Sim. The answer that would be no. There is no way that I could initiate in a tradition that would limit me because of my gender. So I knew those traditions were not going to be what I initiated into. And because they were the only ones I really heard about consistently, I just didn't think I was going to. It wasn't until my Ilode was manifested for me when she came forward and then listening to her and desiring greatly to learn from her. That's the other piece of it, is that the elder has to align to your energy. Like when I listened to her speak, I was in, like, the best way I can describe it, I was in love. I just wanted to listen to her talk. I just felt like I could listen to her talk all day and glean and reap knowledge from her. When she talked about her journey, it was reflective of my own journey, and it made me feel good to hear how she's been able to cultivate this spiritual practice that felt right and nourishing to her. Then, because my elders, like my ancestors had already been saying, you need an elder, and you need to go to Ifa. And I'm like, I need an elder, show them to me. And then she comes through my cousin, who's also going through a journey and who gifted me an Ifa divination from her. And this was not my first one. I had Ifa divination from a man, but I didn't feel like I wanted to learn from him. There was no draw, no pull. The divination was accurate as heck, but I didn't feel that additional draw that he could teach me in the way I needed to be taught, in the way I needed to be led. When my godmother manifested that first divination, I knew it was her. The right person fell in love with me. The right person fell in love with me. The right person fell in love with me for my birthday. Yes, I do. They're actually on my website. I have Elekes for 9 different Orisha on my website. And if there's an Orisha not showing, there's an option to choose other. The Elekes are 20. The Ides are 20, or you can get a set for 33. It's more, it makes more sense to get a set. They're individually made. They are cleansed and blessed. They are not like the ones you go to the store and just grab off the rack. Each one of my sets is cleansed and it is blessed for said specific Orisha. But yeah, my godmother, I loved her. I love her. I love her. Even we're not in Ile, and I love her. I love her. I learned so much from her. Thanks to her, not only am I initiated, I have both hands of Ifa. I can do Opwele, Ikin, and Merendelagoon divination, as well as Obi divination. Thank you. Like, it wasn't, she mentioned it in the divination. The guy didn't, but she did. She's like, I don't know how, she's like, nah, I don't know how to tell you this. And she was so cool about it. She's like, I don't know how to tell you this. But not only are you going to initiate, but you're going to be a priest. I'm sorry, what? And I said, I'm sorry, what? Even though loud in the background, I was like, yep, you already knew that. And I smiled, and she said, you knew that, didn't you? I'm like, and this is how you could tell a true elder. because what she didn't do was tell me I had to initiate. What she didn't do is try to sell me on initiation. What she did is, I'm going to give you some homework to do to come into oneness with yourself. And then you will know the answer to the question as to whether you initiate or not. And if you choose to, and you would like to go on this journey with me, here is class that you can take with me. This is how long the class will take. This is what you will learn and glean before you go to the mat. It was not about the money. It was about making sure my spiritual and personal wellness was in alignment. And when it came up, and it came up again for me to initiate, what I asked from Spirit was like, okay, if I'm supposed to do this, if I'm supposed to initiate, then the money must align. And so the record, because I know the young lady asked me how much initiation costs, and because I'm still just now accepting godchildren, so I don't have a price for you yet. I know what my class will cost, but not initiation. What I will say is this. I didn't spend what some people are spending on initiation. I did not go to the poorhouse. I didn't have to take out no loans. I hadn't go to debt. None of that. None of that. Like when I hear what some people say they spent to initiate, I'm like, who need that money? Because God sure don't. And that was the other thing. Because I kept hearing about other people's experience, what I said to the Most High is, I don't want to have to go to the poorhouse to be closer to you. And so when I said, if it's time for me to initiate, everything will line up perfectly, and it did. Everything, every tool I needed to have, all the things, the travel, the gas, all the things from my car. It comes through initiation. It's through divination. It comes through divination. Exactly. Full circle. It's like, I don't want to do that. And God was like, well, you don't have to. Let me show you. You don't have to go broke. You don't have to do anything. Like, this is how this could manifest for you. And because I was on a journey, for part of my purpose is sacred union. And not sacred union in the physical sense, like sacred union in the individual sense of the harmony between divine feminine and divine masculine. And because me being in my masculine is so easily and effortless for me, I needed more feminine energy around me. So blessed, I'm initiated and crowned in an elated ceremony full of nothing but womb holders. That is the medicine that I needed. Everybody don't need that medicine. The medicine I needed was to be surrounded by womb holders, because I needed that connection. I needed that love from women. I needed that. I needed to see the women power. Person about the no. That, guess, for the record, I didn't pay that unless I would never, ever, even the totality of everything that I have right now. No. This is why my live is titled, God don't need you to go broke to connect. I don't know if you were here at the beginning. Right. Like, no. No, my darling. No, beloved, no. Hold on. Let me just say this real, no shade to anyone at all. I am yet, and I've done E5 divination for several people at this point. I've only just started offering them in the last couple of months, but I've been doing E5 divination for a couple of years now, almost a couple of years. And I have never had to spend, Ashe, you're welcome. Thanks, Spirit, because that's what told me to do it. Fold them clothes and get on live. No, like I'm doing 2 head cleansings this weekend, under $100, both. That's $100, under $100 together. The money they paid me each totals under $100 together. You already spent something on the divination, so I mean, I'm not going to hit you in the head for the offering. It doesn't make sense. The medicine needed doesn't have to put you in the poorhouse. You do not have to go to the poorhouse to get to the abundant house. You don't have to go that route. You could just keep going and go to the prosperity bin. I don't understand. I don't understand. And maybe that's why Spirit's been like, you need to accept godchildren. You need to do this. Like, this is what you need to do. And I'm like, okay. So understand, the one thing I will say, anybody that wants to be one of my godchildren, is they have to take the class, because you cannot go to the mat and not have done the self-love work. You will not go to the mat and not learn how to feel your intuitive yes. Every single solitary individual, should they decide to come to me and say, I want you to be my godmother. Cool. This is the work you have to do. This is the work that you have to do. You have to come to yourself, because what I don't want you to do is leave one religion that told you what to do to go to another religion and feel like you're being told what to do. I want you to know what your spiritual practice should feel like, and then integrate the other things in it. I had a spiritual practice, was cultivating a spiritual practice when I came to Ifa, and Ifa has integrated in it and melded so harmoniously. When I first got initiated, I'll share this with y'all. When I first got initiated, for 3 months, I did Ifa divination and tarot on the same day. And I did it because I wanted to prove to myself and others the oneness of God, and the fact that God is just simply speaking in different languages through different energies. But the message, generally speaking, is almost always the same if you hear it and are coming from a place of your divine self versus your humanistic ego self that just wants to be right. And it was so beautiful, because the Orishas that would show up in my Ifa divination, I have an Orisha tarot deck, and that's what I use. They would show up on those cards. And I was like, I told y'all, God is speaking to you, period. You don't like, period. Exactly. You will lose yourself. If you met me as a kid in the grand scheme of things, I'm still the same person. And not. It's such the weirdest thing. I am both the same person I was when I am 16, and also not the same person I was when I'm 16. I will sit there and be making alekes and watching Naruto. That is the thing that will be absolutely happening, having the best time of my life. I'll be making alekes and listening to Gucci Mane. Those things will still be taking place. But I have this oneness with the Creator that reminds me, yes, like I'm just a bigger, more light version of me. The me that was younger, that hated her complexion. I just don't hate my complexion no more. I love it. I love all my chocolatey goodness. You're welcome for letting y'all get chocolate wasted for free. I love that I am in this place where I can smile. I can make you one. I actually have oil, and I can make you a bath. You can bath 30, and you send me your birthday information, and it will be aligned to you. So you could share it with somebody, but I wouldn't encourage it, because it won't work the same way, because I'm going to use your birth chart to make sure that the herbs that I choose are actually aligned to your energetic signature. So yes, I do make baths, and I do make oils. If you get the bath, I might give you an oil sample and throw that in there, but $30 for the bath, and you could probably get at least 2, if not more, out of it. So yeah, I do that. I do the abundance baths. I just made one for myself. Like, yeah, let me look at these herbs. I do abundance baths. I have self-love baths. If you just want to go to sleep, I got some peace and relaxation oil. Go ahead and put you down for a little while. I am not responsible for any dreams that you have subsequently. It's like, that's all on you. It's all on you, little homie. The need for self-love, and what I realized in working on my course, is that the entire process is self-love. Shadow work obviously is self-love. Knowing what your core values are it gives you the ability to set effective boundaries, so that people that just can't ask you to do anything and everything, and you say yes. Knowing whether or not it aligns to your core values is key. And being able to align to your core values and set appropriate boundaries is what self-love. You understanding what your own personal individual relationship is with the creator and being able to tap into that energy and say, hey, God, should I do ... And know whether or not Ashe, yeah, inbox me and I'll show you how. Yeah, Jesse, you still there? Let me see if I can type a comment in here without screwing up. Can you type in my website address in here for me, please, love? I love you forever and ever and ever and ever. Thank you. She about to put it in there. And make sure you follow me. That way, if you still need it, I can. Thank you, beloved. You are the best. You are the best. But knowing your intuition, how it sounds, how it feels, that is honoring your personal spiritual voice. Self-love. Anything that honors who you are in its fullness capacity is self-love. Ancestor veneration, which we get to at the almost tail end. You go through a whole almost 9 months before we get to ancestor veneration. Why? You need to know what you sound like before you find out what your ancestors sound like. You need to know what your own one-on-one, you with your higher self feels and sounds like before you invite in the other energies. They'll be there. They'll absolutely still be there. And they will love the fact that you're going to come to them from this place of illumination. I don't say wholeness because you ain't broken. You ain't broken. You're not broken. That's why I rarely call myself a healer, because I feel like sometimes they go like, I need to fix this and I need to fix that. No, you just simply need to shine a light. So I'm an illuminator. I shine a light and then I show you how to shine your own light and not be afraid of it. I'm just an illuminator. That's it. I have that in my class too. I actually have that in my class. I have all of that in my class. How to set up an altar, all of those things. All of the things. In my session, because we start with self-love, the very first altar you will set up is to yourself. The very first altar you set is to yourself. So since we're talking about the class, let me just say, the class is called From Self to Source. Let me say that again because I like the title, From Self to Source with Ifa. So even if you don't actually decide to initiate a crown into Ifa in terms of my own lineage, but if you are going to go to an African traditional practice or any practice in general, you will be so set up for success because you will be deeply rooted in a relationship with you, yourself, God, and your ancestors. And honestly, if you never did anything else but that, you would still be okay. If you only ever did that, I promise you would still be okay. You would still be okay. Your spiritual team would still be there. They would still contact and communicate with you because you need to have a relationship with your Ori, your head. You need a relationship with your higher self because none of them talk to you unless you give the green light. Like John Legend, give me the green light. Unless you give the green light, they can't get to you anyway. So you got to start with you. You got to start with you. And know that your angels, your ancestors, it is 333 on the clock. Come through angel numbers twice in one session, Ashe. It will come. It'll absolutely come. But you got to start with you. By honoring you, you honor the creator. By honoring you, you honor your ancestors because you are your ancestors. You are your ancestors. Ashe, I see it too. You are your ancestors. By honoring you, you honor them. So going through the journey, I wrote it specifically for you to get to this beautiful place where I know, because I know what my intuitive yes feels like. By the way, I'm doing that class at the end of the month on how to feel your intuitive yes. It's only $20. in order to feel that, like, you have to know your own inner spiritual voice. You have to understand, Ashe, come through, spirit. Come on now. Come on. Come on. You got to know your own spiritual voice. So I know when my higher self, my favorite self is telling me yes. I also know when my future self is telling me yes, because they don't feel the same. When my future self comes through, reaching into the past to give me a little heads up on something, she don't feel like my favorite self. She feels different. She got a lot of juice. Like, I'm trying to get like her, because she got like her, that Ashe I'm carrying in the future. That's some other. She feel like a deity. When she comes through, she feels like a deity. And when she tells me yes, it feels different. It feels absolutely different. It feels very much like the way Sean Gold tells me yes. Whereas the mother energies around me feel different. They give, like, it always feels like they're doing like that to me. Ashe. Like, it always feels like, like, girl, go ahead. That's how it feels like when the mother energy comes through. But if I had not learned what I felt like, I wouldn't know the difference. I know what I feel like. And thus anything contrary to that feeling tells me it's somebody else. Buddha. For this ear right here, in this weird spot right here, I'm like, oh, dude, what is that? Who is that? There was no physical reason it should have been happening, because within the oddest spot, it's one of those spots like it could only be a spiritual cause, because nothing was touching me. To have created that, like, I'm like, oh, whoa, who is that? Who this man is? Who is that? Who is it? Having a spiritual practice that is so deeply rooted in you, you don't feel like you have to change your personality. You simply have to honor your good character. Notice I have made at least two Star Trek references, and mentioned Naruto and trap music all in one's very spiritual session. And I bet y'all feel like your vibration is still rising. I didn't change who I was. I became more of who I am. Oh, let me see. Oh, that felt good. Let me say that again. My spiritual practice didn't change who I was. It allowed me to become more of who I am. It allowed me to show her unabashedly. I have a whole podcast episode dedicated to what initiation is, in my opinion, and I use Naruto as the framework for initiation. Who does that? I do. I am who does that. If I'm channeling messages, it is nothing for me to relate part of your message to a song, because I like music. I'm also a poet. So periodically, I'll do every once in a while, I'll open up the floor like, hey, if you want a reading done as a poem and get your own personal poem that is also divination, I do that too. Because I'm a poet and I does the things. I do the things. I don't have to force my spiritual practice and my spiritual essence and my Ashe to manifest it so it looks like somebody else. Otherwise, it won't be me. There's a lot of people who make alekes, but they ain't mine. Oh, just like this. I don't know who slid through just, but they ain't mine. They ain't mine. They're not mine. They're not mine. And it makes me so happy to string them beads together and be thinking about that specific Orisha and get the patterns together. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yo, this joy is fire. And I'm like, I don't know how spiritual that is, but since I said it, it must be spiritual. So I'm going to say it again. This joy is fire. It's fine. What is that? Like one, I know one I really did say, like, okay, I ate when I made this one. I said that. That is a thing that transpired. I don't need no fancy press. The voice, the words, the language, the intonation, the conversation that I have with my creator, that I have with creation, that I have with nature, angels, ancestors, Oroisha, it's just simply me. It's just simply me. And my intention, my hope, my prayer, as I begin to wrap this up, because this 8% battery life is looking at me like, you haven't learned how to control the batteries yet without a charger. That right there, I want your spiritual practice, whatever you choose for it to be, to always feel like you. for you to never feel like you have to look a certain way, dress a certain way, talk a certain way, talk about all these things. You'll not find one video of me talking about 5D. It's not that I'm not aware of it, it's just not language that I choose to use. So I don't talk about it that way. I want you to feel like your individual emanation of the Most High needs to emanate as a reflection of who God created you as. Go back to your childhood. I am as goofy and as silly as I was when I was a kid, but I'm also as wise and intuitive and as powerful as I was as a kid. I just didn't realize it as a kid. Abo Shishe, I didn't realize it as a child. And the reason why my course is from self to source with Ifa is because, in all honesty, of all the things that I have adapted into my spiritual practice, Ifa has told me to be me with audacity, with the unmitigated gall to be me in however I choose to manifest. And that's why it is self-love that is the soil, the foundation, and the thing that holds the soil and gives it structure is Ifa. It holds it and it gives it structure. But the nutrients of it, my Ifa tree would not be as strong, beautiful, bright, and flourishing if it was not for the fact that I had not planted it in self-love. If I had not planted it in self-love, it wouldn't be that strong. And just like that, my screen has faded. So, Ashe. So before my phone shuts off, because I know it's going to, Goddess, inbox me. Make sure you follow me if you haven't already done so. And I'll make sure you have like the link to my website and all of the good things. And you just let me know what it is that you want to order. I can invoice you and then you can pay and we can get that started. Let's see. Class begins May 21st. Kickoff is May 19th. You could pay $250 a month. That'll give you full access to the class as well as one-on-one time with me twice a month. You not able to do that? Cool. You can do just the group class sessions. That's only $100 a month. If you can't do that, I can send you nice little PDF job aids to get you started for $40 a month. I want you to be able to support your spiritual journey at whatever level that you are at. So if you are interested, go to my bio, Linktree. Everything's in my Linktree. You don't want to do that? I get it. Inbox me. We can chat. If you want a consultation, 15-minute consultation is only $20. And if you choose to book something after that, the $20 is just discounted on whatever you book and or order. I just want to thank y'all for the likes. Thank y'all for the gifts. Thank you for your time and your engagement. This was so freaking fun. OMG, I had a blast. Y'all were amazing. And I hope that y'all have a beautiful weekend, a beautiful day, all of the good things. Those of you who are in the area with me, stay dry or only moderately wet. Kind of depends on how hard it's raining. So either stay dry or at least only get a sprinkle nickel on you. Okay? Thank y'all so much. Have a good day. I'm going to go charge my phone before I die. Bye. All right, guys.